Create the highest, greatest version possible for your life because you become what you believe. Oprah Winfrey. Welcome to Living at Your Finest podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Babs. I'm a triple board certified family, obesity, and lifestyle medicine physician, and I am the founder of Living at Your Finest Wellness, a holistic direct primary care practice. Did you know that 80% of lifestyle-related chronic diseases within our communities are preventable, with poor diet being the primary culprit? Now, contrary to what we thought, that it was our unfortunate genes, the good news is that we can make changes together to improve our health and quality of life. So that's what this podcast is all about. The Living at Your Finest podcast is devoted to helping families to live at their finest well-being using a holistic approach with a healthy lifestyle to nourish and flourish as a whole, vibrant, and healthy champion. So join me and my guests as we share transformational and sustainable skill sets from our health and wellness journey to support you and your families in achieving optimal well-being. Ready to live at your finest? Well, let's get to it. Welcome, Living at Your Finest Health Champions. We made it to 2025 at the time of this recording. Happy New Year to you and yours. I hope you had a marvelous celebration of the holidays with your loved ones. I am thrilled that you're here today with me. Welcome back to those who have listened through the years, and to the new listeners, thank you so much for tuning on. Today I'm excited because we're going to share a topic that is well needed. This is the momentum, everybody, new me, new you. Kind of mentality. So today's title is Write Your Vision and Make It Clear. So write your vision and make it clear. What vision are we talking about? We're talking about health vision. All right. So this is the time where people are so motivated to write it down. And I want to share not just why you need to do that, but how you can sustain it, right? Without falling off the wagon. I don't know if you know that the second Friday in January is called Quitter's Day. So a lot of people just give up their New Year resolutions. And then mid-February, people are like, you know what, forget this. And they don't even try. But we don't want to fall into that statistics. So I'm going to share things that we can do. So there's this quote that says, with the new day comes new strength and new thoughts. And this is by Eleanor Roosevelt. So we're going to invest in our health because it's a worthwhile investment. And when I say health, it's physical, spiritual, mental health. All right. So let's start off with why. Why do we need to invest in our health? That's because it's everything, right? Not only do we want to live long, but we want to have a lifespan that has a health span attached to it, right? So we want to live healthy and well. The reason is because we want to be able to enjoy life with our families, with our loved ones, right? We want to be able to do our activities of daily living, pick up a grocery, bend down, use the bathroom, all the things that we need to do to make us feel functional. We want to be able to do that. Play with your grandkids, run. You want to reduce the risk of chronic diseases. Chronic diseases, unfortunately, we find that 80% of it is preventable. Right? And the three main culprits of chronic diseases is poor diet, lack of movement, and alcohol and smoking. So we want to be able to change that. And fortunately, 60% of people will have one chronic disease and 40% will have two or more chronic diseases. So this is the time to make the change. Prevention is better than cure. All right. So what is your why? That's the first place I want you to start off with. What is your why? Why do you want to have sustainable changes, lifestyle that has sustainable changes? Why do you want that? So if you come up with your strong why, then we go on to the next step, which is make a commitment. How do you make a commitment? I've already shared with you the three main culprits that are responsible for chronic diseases, right? Poor diet, not moving, smoking, alcohol. So those things we want to stay away from because it compromises ourselves from being present. So when you make your commitment, let's start with with the first one, which is nutrition. So the whole idea is being at least 1% better than the last time. Okay. So nutrition is your foundation. And I want to keep it very simple. Seriously, simplicity is what our bodies will hold on to. If it becomes so complex, so elaborate, then we wouldn't even get anything done. So two big things: make sure you get greens in, greens. Make sure you get greens in. All right. Make sure you get greens in for every meal. You want to have at least a minimum of 3 servings a day. It can be more, but at least start with 3. You want to eat the rainbow because of the gut health. And then the second thing is that you want to make sure that your food is minimally processed, so as closest to the earth as possible. So instead of drinking the orange juice, eat the orange. Instead of eating the apple pie, eat the apple, right? So those are the things we need to pay attention to when it comes to nutrition. So that's your first commitment. How much greens are you going to put in your plates? How much proteins, whole grains, legumes, all those things? How much of that you're going to put in your plate? The second thing is movement. All right. So the recommendation is at least 30 minutes, 5 days a week at minimum. You want to do strength training because that helps to maintain your muscle mass. All right. If you don't use it, you lose it. All right. So you need to know where you are at the moment and step it up. Okay. If you're not doing it, 5 reps, 5 minutes, just get some strength training going on. Okay. So number 3 is stress management. Unfortunately, there's no magic wand to get rid of stress, but if we have continuous stress, it just takes us into this fight or flight mode and increases our cortisol. So we want to minimize stress this 2025 if you're trying to reduce chronic diseases, right? Because stress causes inflammation. So we want to minimize it. It's not what happens to us, but how we react to it. So that's certainly another pillar that we need to be mindful of. Sleep. See, if we don't snooze, we don't lose. And sleep is the pillar that brings us all together. Sleep equips us to live our best lives, optimal well-being. So recommendation is between 7 to 9, at least between 7 to 8 is a touch spot. It has to be restorative. You really want to make sure that you're getting that rest in, somewhere between going to bed between 10 and 12, because that's where you have your increased growth hormone, which helps with your metabolism, helps with your immune system. So lots of benefits to sleeping at the time that you need to sleep, which is between 10 to 12, and avoiding standing in your own way of adequate sleep. All right. We have 2 more. Social connections has been linked to longevity. So you want to make sure that you're socially connected, whether it's volunteering, being in a group with people. Those are things that have been linked to longevity. All right. And the last but not the least is avoiding substances. When we are overtaken by substances, it keeps us from being present. It comes with friends. Friends with multiple friends. You drink and then you cannot control your eating, you're sleeping erratically. So these are the commitments that you're making, these 6 pillars. And pretty much lifestyle medicine is evidence-based medicine that focuses on lifestyle habits and behaviors to prevent, treat, and reverse chronic lifestyle diseases. All right, so that is number 2. Make the commitment to touch on at least one aspect of all these 6 pillars I mentioned. Now, number 3, you got to make it smart. You said you're going to eat more veggies. How are you going to do it? Are you going to keep your fridge stocked with veggies, or you're just going to go like, we'll just wing it? No, you got to make smart goals. All right. Smart goals is what's going to make it sustainable. That's what's going to make it long lasting. You have to have a plan. There is an adage that says a dream without a plan is just a wish. All right. So we're not making wishes here. We're going to take action. So come up with your smart goals for each of these things that you say you want to do. I want you to write a smart goal for each of them. So let's say I'm saying I'm going to add more greens. So how am I going to make it specific? When I go shopping, I'm going to write the greens that I want to have for this week, right? So maybe broccoli, asparagus, green beans, because they help with my gut health. I'm going to write what my menu is going to look like. I want to be very specific. I'm not just going to say I'm going to eat more greens. Okay, how are you going to do that? And then I want to make sure it's measurable. So how much of it am I going to do? Am I going to do it on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or just measure it? Because if you don't measure it, you cannot manage it. Then your A is attainable. How are you going to make it possible? Like for me, I have to shop on a Friday because every other day is busy, because I have some time in my Friday to shop. I put it on my calendar so I don't get it busy doing other things, and then I shop on Friday. I used to shop all over the place and I found that I wasn't being productive that way. So I make it attainable. And then the R, relevant. What's the relevance? Why am I doing this? Why am I even bothering? I'm doing it because it decreases my risk of chronic diseases. It also helps me save money. I'm building a legacy of health. So that's the relevance and time bound. So because for me, I can get distracted very easily. I have to put things in time, right? So my time bound can be like, okay, for this month, this is what I'm going to do. For next month, I will revisit and reevaluate. You want to make it time bound. So that's your SMART goals. Thank you so much for joining me on this week's episode. My goal on this podcast is to empower, educate, and encourage you to take actionable steps to triumph at living at your finest, body, mind, and spirit. Of note, the information provided here is for educational purposes only and does not substitute as medical advice. Please discuss your healthcare needs with your licensed medical professional. If you are in need of a compassionate and comprehensive holistic physician or know someone who is, please reach out through my website, livewellness.com, for a meet and greet. It will be my honor to talk to you. Are we connected on social media yet? I share more in-depth content on best practices to ensure that you live at your finest daily. So please join me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube at Living at Your Finest Wellness, where we can learn together and stay connected. Lastly, please subscribe to iTunes if you have not done so already, and share the podcast within your circle of influence. An extra step? Leave a review and let me know what topics or discussions you would like to hear more of. Thanks in advance. It is always a thing of joy to hear from you. Now, let's get back to today's episode. Now, what are the other things that will make sustainable transformational changes for you in 2025? Let's talk about it. Preparing for challenges and barriers with backup plans. Okay, so what does that mean? Be ready that things might happen, right? Life might happen, so it might be cold outside. I have a walking treadmill, a desk treadmill that I can get my steps in, right? So I can do that. Or there's lots of YouTube videos that I can just do a quick 15 minutes, maybe get a buddy that will hold each other accountable, form a challenge, do something, be ready, and have a backup plan. So you know how to prepare for challenges. Like for instance, for me, I find that if I already know what I'm going to wear, if I want to go to the gym, it takes out the brain work of having to figure it out, because I promise you, I love to exercise, but if something else comes in my mind that I have to do and I'm not prepared, I will very quickly switch gears. So I have to prepare for challenges. I have to make it easy. The healthiest choice, the easiest choice, all right? And I have to have backup as well, all right? Because our body doesn't like working hard. It just wants to do what is so easy, even if it's not the right thing, all right? So that is what's going to help us go the long term. And I want to also emphasize that you don't want to fall off the wagon. If you fall off too quickly or too fast, it's difficult you're just like struggling to get back. I'm trying to get back and the wagon is still moving. So that's what I want you to do. I want you to make those little small changes and do your best not to fall off, okay? So it's not all or nothing. So that's key. And then the last but not the least is celebrate every win. Every win matters, right? So not just skills, losing the pounds, it's also the non-skill victories. So you're having more energy, you're able to bend, less pain, you're able to sleep better. All these things matter. Every win matters. Please do not look at it that, just because you didn't run a marathon, that you didn't do anything. You've made an effort. Celebrate every win, okay? So that's how we are able to sustain transformational changes. I know in my past, I used to write a resolution and I would very quickly break it. And that was because I wasn't following any of these best practices that I discussed now. Now I don't even go into talking about New Year resolutions. I just write goals and I write habits and behaviors that would enable me accomplish those goals. All right. So this year together, we are going to make sure that we don't fall into the statistics of quitting or breaking a New Year resolution. Together, we're going to make it our healthiest, our happiest, and our best year ever. So thank you so much for listening to me to the very end. I want you to ensure that you take action, okay? Again, as I said, you've heard, you've listened to it to your heart, you've listened, you've applied it to your heart. Now you got to use your hands to take action. I know you deserve to live at your finest because yes, you got it. You're worth it. Until next time, take care and Happy New Year again.